This was sent to me from an anonymous viewer of the channel. It's been a little while since we did any kind of deep dives on any game funds. And given the current climate of the UK, that this was something that was quite interesting. It's a little bit concerning too. This is the UK Games Fund. It is a community interest company that has been established to help develop the UK games development sector, particularly at the early stage. We are not for profit and do not have share capital. Our aim is to boost the UK's game business and talent ecosystem. We want our funding to create jobs. What's this next one? This one, I feel like this really stands out. Promote diverse new teams. Why would that matter? Why wouldn't you want the best people for the job to promote the jobs for people to work on them? Why just diverse? It's very strange. Enhance skills and increase the amount of new game IPs in the UK. In short, we're working to support the UK's early stage games development community. What we do, we run both Transfuser and the UK Games Fund, supporting the whole spectrum of startup game developers, from talented grads to more senior SMEs. Why are we doing this? We've learned from previous projects that we can have a positive impact by providing this type of support. Now, again, I always go back to these buzzwords that lefty lunatics always use: diverse, positive, better. It's like, no, it's in your mind, in your perspective, it makes your life better for what your ideology is pushing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a more positive impact for the community at large. It just pushes your ideology further, which makes it positive from your perspective, which is a massive distinction that needs to be made here, providing this type of support. The logic behind our approach is that by increasing the volume of creative teams and talent that have real-world experience in developing their own titles under their belt, the greater the chance of one of those teams and titles becoming a significant success. So basically, just shoot all your shit on the wall and maybe something will stick. Yeah, sounds like a great way to get a bunch of garbage out there. Welcome to the how shovelware gets made, by the way. The breakthrough may not come from the original project we support, but every project has a positive learning impact that are taken through the business and our personal career development. We also think it's important for UK games development sector to have its own funding delivery body to capitalize on any opportunities that emerge in the future, which, by the way, I got to be clear on this too. Whenever you have a government body telling you that they're funding games, that means they're taking the citizens' tax money and spending it themselves. AKA, they think they know how to spend their money better than you do. Which, no, we're not a trade body or membership organization. We are highly supportive of all the work of Yuki and Tiga and are working with them closely on funding for indie games development, whatever the hell Yuki and Tiga are. So I dove a little bit further. I wanted to find out what they meant by they want diverse teams. And would you believe it if I told you guys they have an entire PDF explaining their expectations on how to qualify for their grants. This is what their games have to have in them. So anytime I talk in the past or in the future about why there seems to be so much forced diversity in the games, I want you to remember what we talk about right here. Standard A, in-game representation, themes, and narratives detail how the video games will address underrepresentation in the lead and secondary characters, playable character rosters, casting choices, the main and secondary storylines, themes and narratives, and where the game is set. Identify where there are unfamiliar characters or themes and narratives that are not frequently portrayed in games or are shown from a new perspective. Describe where there are complex and non-stereotypical representations of characters or cultures who are normally regulated to two-dimensional roles. Doesn't this sound a lot like what Sweet Baby Inc. does and things that they say? Aren't there? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I feel like there's a lot of correlation here. Detail the perspective of the narrative or theme of the game and how this affects the way in which characters or cultures are portrayed. Because at the end of the day, guys, these entities, they don't give a shit about, is the game authentic? Is it the artist's vision? They want to inject diversity for the grant to qualify. This is proof. A1, lead characters, playable characters. For non-narrative games where the cast is an ensemble, the total roster of playable characters meets one or more of the below targets. A 50-50 gender balance. 20% belonging to an underrepresented ethnic group. 10% LGBTQ+. 7% deaf and disabled. What the fuck? Is that where the vitiligo comes in? Significant amount of characters featuring regional diversity. This is, by the way, this is what they don't want you to see. This is why professional games journalism hates Smash JT. I want to be clear about that in case there was any question. Significant amounts of characters are from lower socioeconomical backgrounds. You should explain where there are characters that are not frequently portrayed on screen and or how the game is offering non-stereotypical representation. So they want to shove it in your face on how the representation is there and why it's there. And most importantly, why it's important to be there in a game that you're playing where you're like holding the control like, this is getting fucking awkward. Why are they telling me they're from this unrepresented group? This makes no fucking sense at all. Here you go. Other characters. Total of your secondary characters or principal non-playable characters, NPCs, meet one or more of the below targets. A 50-50 gender balance, 20%. So it's the same thing. So it's like not just the main characters, but other characters as well. You should explain where the characters that are not frequently portrayed. In addition, for narrative games, you should indicate these characters' roles in the story. This is not authentic game telling. Do you think the original Doom would have been made with these standards? Main storyline. The main storyline, theme, or narrative of the video game is about underrepresented groups. The game should demonstrate diversity across the... This is the UK government giving money and grants, by the way, to be clear. This is not some no-name group. This is a fucking government of the playtime in order to meet A3, not just a single section or element. So basically, they create a story based off of what the requirements are. They send it in for review. It gets kicked back saying, gonna need a little bit more diversity. This character's not black enough. This character's not gay enough. Gonna need to inject that a little bit more. You gotta ask yourself, why is that? Why would a government care that a game is shoving more gay into the game? Why would a government give a shit about that? Very strange. Almost like the government itself has an agenda that they're trying to push out there. Very strange. Other storylines, subject matter, featured character backstory. There are other elements in video game storylines, subject matter, that are about underrepresented groups. Location. The setting is wholly or partially in an underrepresented region or community. If the game takes place in an imagined or fantastical setting, please detail how this relates to real-world underrepresented regions. This is the facts proof. We fucking found it. Here it is. Nobody is talking about this. Here it is. Whenever anyone questions why it feels like everything has an agenda, this is literally them saying you need to have an agenda in your fantasy game. That they literally just say it here. You should explain where the setting communities that are not frequently portrayed on screen, and how the game is offering non-stereotypical representation. Casting directions. Casting choices of voice artists that address underrepresentation and challenge tropes and stereotypes. For games that feature background NPCs or crowds, does the game ensure that underrepresented groups are featured in significant amounts? Now you got to ask yourself, why would the UK care about this? Unless, I don't know, there might be some, get your tinfoil hats on. There might be some connections behind the scenes with the World Economic Forum and pushing an agenda of globalization. I mean, I don't know. Please don't shoot me. I'm just talking here, guys. I'm just talking. This is just me. I'm just a guy who loves video games. Please don't kill me. but holy shit, I am not suicidal for anyone who's questioning anything. I'm very happy. I'm living the best life. I drive very well. I don't run into any accidents. Please, I just want people to remember this here. Creative leadership and development team. Detail how the video game will address underrepresentation in its creative leadership and or development team. Goes into all this other stuff. I mean, my God, you want me to go line by line with this? Or it's too early in the process to confirm you're hiring for roles, or you are in the process of recruiting. We would expect to see clarity of intention in regards to searching for staff for underrepresented groups, aka they better fucking check those boxes under the, you don't need to tell us who you are. But yeah, you do. Because if you don't tell us, we're not going to be hiring you, because we need fucking black people here. We need people that are underrepresented. So if you don't, or if you click that box, choose not to answer, you are not going to be reviewed as an employee. That's what that's all about. That is fucking illegal. Morally wrong, if nothing else. This is insane. This is straight up racism. Where possible, your application should also demonstrate how you are changing your recruitment practices. How, when, and where are you recruiting? Are interview venues and workplaces accessible? Do you offer additional support for specific access requirements, including travel? Are you going to be flying people in from fucking Africa? What? What the hell? Are specific interventions being made for primary caregivers? Holy shit. Anything but a white person is what I'm reading here. Lines up with what the UK is doing. On brand. Please note that where the total development team size is less than 10, allowances will be made. Oh, how kind of the UK. I could go on. This goes on forever, guys. Feel free to pause and go through. This is going to give me an aneurysm. Development support roles, gender balances. This is a big one. Hey, guys, remember earlier when we were talking previously in another video about how 50% of gamers are women? And we're like, no, they're not. Now they're saying we need a 50-50 gender balance at your studio. You need to bring women in to work at your company, even if they don't fucking know what the hell they're doing. Just bring girls in. We need more women working at your company. Holy shit, this is insane. Industry access and opportunities. Detail how your video game addresses underrepresentation in relation to paid roles such as internship, apprenticeships, special advisor roles, trainee roles, work experience, promotions, and first job mentoring. In all cases, these need to be filled by people from underrepresented groups. So guys, when I was in college and I was graduating and no one was hiring me and I was applying for internships, whites need not apply. Not even exaggerating. Like that's what this says. Whites need not apply. White straight males need not apply. You will not be asked to identify individuals by name. Standard C is compulsory for all applicants' applications. Concessions will also be made for games with very small teams, i.e. under 10. Paid employment opportunities. Your studio is offering a play. Okay, they go into all this. I'm not going to, I got so much to go through on this, guys. This is insanity. Partnerships utilizing specialist expertise, online communities, player-based engagement. This is why all the Discord mods are fucking nuts. Everything makes sense. And in case you're wondering the viability or questioning anything that I'm talking about right now, I did my research on this. Here you go. Government.uk. This is it. Research and analysis, evaluation of the UK Games Fund. Yes, the UK Games Fund. Final output from the evaluation, including an evaluation of the 3 years of funding awards within the current iteration of funding from 22-23 and 24-25, as well as previous iterations of the program. But this is the report, the summary findings, all the money they've spent and granted and given away to all the companies that have qualified for the free money, all of them. And it doesn't specify any of them. So I went over to ChatGPT and I asked it some questions. I said, give me a list of the people, the companies that have worked and the games that have come out with this. And the problem is it doesn't tell you how much money they gave because that is hidden under rounds. And it says, here are some representative titles the UK Games Fund has supported. Useful for your article. I didn't ask for an article. I said, just give me an answer. Note, this is not a complete list, but a sampling showing studios, rounds, and project names you can cite or investigate further. Glitchers, Cone Wars, a mobile ice cream empire game. Miami Avalon, Ascend, adventure puzzle game about climbing a mystical mountain. Antler Studios, Project Grove, first-person adventure game about an alchemist and a robot companion. Bocata Games, Puerto Viejo, a 2D single-player adventure game set in the Spanish Golden Age. White Paper Games, a game called The Occupation, narrative-driven game. And these are different rounds and listings. And I asked it for more information about how much money with the rounds. And it says the UK Games Fund's prototype fund has been run in more than 18 rounds since launch in 2015. It started back in 2015 for grants up to £30,000. Each round is essentially a batch of applications and awards. For example, round 16 was announced mid-2025. The rounds allow studios to apply for the grant, get awarded, and begin work. Over time, the fund has added other support strands. See below. Example, Prototype Fund offers grants of up to $30,000 per project. The newer Content Fund is a higher tier, granting between £50 and £150, aimed at more mature, market-ready projects. AKA, this game is mature, almost ready to come out. We just need to start race swapping people to qualify for this money. So when people wonder why the race swapping happens, I want you to remember this right now, because this is why. This right here. I feel like I'm screaming into the abyss with all the facts that we have in front of us, and nothing is fucking changing. This is why the game industry is fucking spiraling. And I'm sorry I'm so animated with my words right now. I'm very frustrated that the game industry has continued to go down this path. And people keep telling you, you're the problem. It's not happening. And then when you find out it's happening, they say, well, here's why it's a good thing. It's like, no, it's not. This is the problem. It needs to stop happening. Governments need to stop getting involved in gaming. And if they're going to get involved in gaming, stop being racist when they go into it. This is awful. This in itself, the UK Games Fund, this kind of stuff, which I would argue stems directly from the World Economic Forum, is precisely what is ruining the game industry. This is the root cause of it. And these are the facts directly from the site. So if you guys want to listen to the game journals peddling their lies, what have I lied about here? What have I made up? What have I said that is not accurate? This is the problem right here. Don't be gaslit. Don't let people tell you not to believe your lying eyes. This is the information. I think it's an important step to acknowledge it first before any real change can happen. But with that, I'll leave that there.